Don't you love it when things are both easier and more affordable? Like when the rain washes your car for you. Or like when you save up to 10% by bundling your renters and auto insurance with USAA. Bundle with USAA and start saving. Get a quote today.
Since you're new to H&R Block, we'll look at your returns from the last 3 years for any money your last guy might have missed for free.
I could get money back from last year?
You could. We'll find any mistakes.
Could have really used that 2 years ago when I dated that mistake for 5 months.
Don't leave money on the table. Switch to H&R Block and get a free second look review. Second look is included at no additional cost with the purchase of tax preparation. Results vary. All tax situations are different. Fees apply if you have us file an amended return.
So good, so good, so good.
Easter deals starting at just $25 are at Nordstrom Rack stores now. And that means tons of fresh reasons to rack.
They've got the best gifts.
Because I always find something amazing.
Save on Easter finds from Kate Spade New York, Calvin Klein, MAC Cosmetics, and more. Great brands, great prices. That's why you rack.
It's really cool.
Bonjour, hello, and welcome to the Rosbiff Rugby podcast, your one-stop shop for all things French rugby. The top 14 Pro de Nationale, French national team, Les Bleus, and the brilliant towns, bars, cities, people, stories, tales, just everything that's fabulous about French rugby. I'm joined by Rob, who is adorned in Soyaux Angoulême kit for reasons that will soon become clear. And Robert, it's safe to say you're looking more sprightly than the last time I saw you, which was the back end of quite a long lunch to celebrate your birthday. So I'm sure the listeners would, one, like to send their good tidings and many happy returns, and two, find out how you're feeling, how you've come back round.
Didn't feel great, to be honest, mate, today. Wasn't top of my game at work. It was, Saturday was a big day, wasn't it? I think starting at lunch at kind of 12:30 with a pickleback shot of Jameson's was probably, in hindsight, a bit over exuberant early on.
Yeah, it's always going to come back to bite you. I sloped off, as I'm sure you were eventually aware. I saw my exit sign lit up, but I did soften the blow with a couple. I think we've spoken about them once or twice before. The evolution of the Guinness Zero is a real saver. It sort of padded me out while we were watching England Australia. I think probably.
That was very sneaky.
Well, you obviously, it was your birthday, so you weren't buying any drinks, were you? I was getting absolute pelters from some other friends, former hosts of Rosbiff Rugby podcast, where Reese was letting me know what he thought about it. But I think it probably did for me quite well in the end. But a good day.
I think I could have done with that because I don't really remember anything after the final whistle of the England game. So, yeah.
Well, successful birthday then. If you happen to be in pubs, restaurants around Shoreditch, the chances are now that you'll be seeing Rosbiff Rugby stickers, because every time we went into a different place, and if ever I went to the bathroom, it appeared Rob had got there before, or there's another sneaky super fan out there who was doing his work. So keep an eye out. We've had one sighting in Toulouse. Is that?
Yeah.
We report back a couple of weeks ago.
Hoping to plaster the Stade de France at the weekend.
Well, yeah. So as I think we've mentioned before, we're both heading, albeit in separate parties. Although I'd imagine we'll probably have a bit of a tete-a-tete at some point. But France with the All Blacks is Saturday night at the slightly late time of 9:10. I'm not sure why the extra 10 minutes is required, but looking forward to it. Have you got everything booked, itinerary sorted?
No, but you gave me a bit of a scare last week when you said, have you got your tickets? And I couldn't find them. And then I realised that you have to go into your account and download them. I did just check the weather, and it looks like it's sunny, or dry at least. It will rain on Sunday, so let's hope that does stay as a Sunday rain as opposed to a Saturday rain. Does look like it could get quite chilly, but dry weather could be a fantastic game.
Could be. And there was a bit of maybe a bit unfair on Japan to call it a dress rehearsal, but it was pretty comfortable for France in the end.
It was a team run.
It was a little bit, wasn't it? It looked like it was going to be like it was going to be like a few games have recently. Teams getting off to real fast starts and it not turning into complete capitulation. But it was pretty academic throughout. Was there? I assume you watched this in your sort of hungover state on Sunday. Was there anything notable that stood out? We spoke about a few of the big selection, if not dilemmas, then selection points in our little midweek preview, particularly in the centres, 10 and 15 and the back row. Any of those? I don't know. Any further questions for you? Anything answered, or we looking ahead?
Barry played pretty well at fullback. The time he was on, they kind of changed it up around the 50-minute mark, I think. Atisogbe came in for Damien Penaud last minute. Big news for the Atisogbe's, the members of the fan club, but he is now injured, which is weird because the injury I've seen is iliac crest, which I know where that is because that is currently what is keeping me off games. It's the kind of edge of your pelvis, but he kind of limped off with ice round and was getting ice around his knee. So yeah, who knows what's happened, but he is out of the squad for this weekend. I assume Damien Penaud will be back. He is still in the squad, but Louis Bielbarré Atisogbe was very good. He kind of did Atisogbe things and looked very, very competent in all that he did, as well as a couple of threatening bits. But Louis Bielbarré just had the run of the whole of one half of the pitch, basically. Like the amount of times he was just charging down the left wing at will. And just his pace and his acceleration, it's just such a threat. Like when he wants to be, give him any space, and he's just deadly. I'd say he was probably France's best player, or certainly had the biggest impact on the game. Dupont was good. He wasn't at his best, I would say, but he was decent. Rumat played pretty well. Really nice pickup for one of the tries, which was again off a Bielbarré kind of chip through and putting people under pressure. Yeah, I'd say those. Oh, and Malvaca is just... I kind of got a bit distracted when the game was fizzling out and I went down a bit of a rabbit hole reading about New Caledonia. But Piatto Malvaca played in the back row for a bit. Marchand came on for Miafu and I was like, hang on, that's wrong. And then thought, actually, no, is Malvaca going to play flanker? And he did. I mean, he's just does what he wants. I think on commentary they said you could easily put a 1 in front of his 2 and you wouldn't really know.
He played didn't he finish the game on the wing as well?
Did he?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. I think like last
with Atisogbe off.
Yeah, he was out wide. And why not? I mean, he is a phenomenal player. The other guy I thought looked really good off the bench was Paul Boudon, leathering people. Yeah, just
looked quite physical.
Quite a hard man.
And angry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, arguably there are teams that you'll look a bit more physical against in Japan, and their current form is probably one of them. But he looked really good. And a couple of charges from Georges-Henri Colombe, which I still love. Just watching a bloke who's wider than he is tall with people hanging off him does not ever get old. He is up there for me and my favourite French players for sure. Just on Bielbarré, I think he's still so young, and I don't think I wouldn't say I've ever doubted how good he is, but there are times he plays, like we know how ridiculous Penaud can be. There are times when Bielbarré plays and he just looks like he's playing a totally different game. Example of that was that they lost against La Rochelle a few weeks back, Bordeaux, and they put him at 15. He was just, I don't know, there are times when it just seems to be too easy, and he's got the acceleration, such a range of skills, and he's fabulous to watch.
You mentioned props running forward. Jean-Baptiste Gros showed a bit of acceleration for his try. I thought he was pretty good, to be honest. Again, like you say, Japan, not the most intimidating of packs, but he looked like he put himself about around the park, made carries, made tackles, pretty good at set piece. So, yeah, maybe the one shirt is his for the time being. If he can, I think it's a completely different test when he comes up against Tyrell Lomax, isn't it? Though, as you said previously.
But as you say, come out the other side of it, and I say he's not someone I don't think I've seen, probably not seen enough of him. But certainly what I haven't seen sort of superstar stuff. But why not? Massive shop window, as it were. So we'll be there. We'll be in Paris. First trip to the Stade de France. It's a late kickoff, as we already discussed. Where is All Blacks as well? fresh off an incredibly convincing win in Dublin, having beaten England the week before. Still look like they've probably got a bit in the tank, so hopefully it's going to be an absolute all-timer. But where for you is it going to be won and lost? Don't, and you can't just say up front, because that is just it's going to be one up front. Does not cut it anymore.
So you said the first time at Stade de France for me as well. I don't think it is for you, but it'll be the first time I've seen Antoine Dupont in the flesh as well. So not only first time for Stade de France, but also first time witnessing Tony D. And it seems really, really, I hate myself for saying it, but that is where the game is going to be won and lost, but less because of Tony D, more because for Cortez Ratimer, I think it was, that started, Ireland really got to him, and he had a pretty messy game on Friday night against Ireland. I think the sense is that Roygaard is possibly I think he had some bad injuries, but he played in the World Cup last year, didn't he? I think he was kind of the coming man, so maybe they'll switch Roygaard in, because I don't think Ratimer covered himself in glory last week. But I think we have seen teams get to Antoine Dupont a little bit recently. I think Toulon did it really well. And, well, ironically, two teams that have been battered in Japan and Toulon. But, I think he could just pull something magical out, couldn't he? And I think we're kind of looking forward to that. What magic is he going to pull out the bag? You say it might not be one up front, but the scrum, we do still have our reservations about France in the scrum. And also, can France get a bit of, can New Zealand get a bit of headway at the breakdown? I think if you look, they've got certainly 2 or 3 jackal threats there that perhaps France don't quite have. But that said, France are very good at hitting rucks. Your likes of, Francois Cross is particularly good at it. Flamand is very good at it, although I imagine he might not play if he went off injured. I think he's still in the squad. And they bring that kind of Toulouse counter-rucking element to it. So, be interesting to see how they can disrupt New Zealand ball.
Yeah, I must say, from I don't profess to know anything about him, but I am on the New Zealand side. I'm really looking forward to. I think he came through the Ireland game unscathed. Wallace Satiti, who was just next level in that game against England.
Yeah,
and is probably the sort of kryptonite that we'd maybe say to the France back row, which is quite measured, quite maybe just lacking that tiny bit of out and out spark. Although as you said, I thought Rumat was very good, but totally different approaches to the back row.
Yeah,
it'd be really fascinating to see how it pans out,
because you've got your kind of traditional 7, haven't you? And Sam Cane kind of will tackle everything, and Thatcher type person. You've got your destructive ball carrier that's going to be involved in absolutely everything in Ardy Surveyor, and you've got just a freak athlete that's going to maraud around in Maurice Titi. And him and Surveyor have a level of dynamism that France don't quite have. I think as good as the farmer strength of old Aldrit, Boudon, Cross is. It's just a different type of ball carrying, isn't it?
Yeah. Looking at the backs before we wrap it up and just get really excited for a couple of days in Paris. Gauthier Baudin is one of the French rugby journalists. Follow him on X. Great source of information. This was I'm gonna read it out in, well, you probably get it from the start, but L'Équipe reporting. So Romain Buros est une pole position pour démarrer au poste d'arrière face à Nouvelle-Zélande.
Really?
Now, some of that was very poorly pronounced, but according to whether or not that's a bit dodge, but it supposedly is L'Équipe, the source, saying Romain Buros might come in after all the time we spent debating the Barret Jalabert thing. Whether that's true or not, I have no idea.
That's a debut as well, isn't it?
That would be a debut, yeah.
That's very French, isn't it?
It would be French. I mean, I think we both love Romain Buros, but I did not see that coming, and it might not do, but creates a bit of intrigue if nothing else.
I don't think he's quite got the pace for international level, and especially an opposition side that will have Will Jordan and Mark Talair in it. Rico Ioane, I don't think. Yeah, I wouldn't go that way, but he is very, very, very good under the high ball, which is also quite useful against that lot.
We will see. I'm genuinely really excited. It will be a top draw. On that as well, I don't know if they are still available, but we're going to put it out to the masses. One of our followers did get in touch and genuinely has 2 tickets going to the game. So if you are, I'd say by the time this is published, they may well be gone. But if you are interested in getting out to Paris or really there late, then drop us a DM and we will put you in touch.
And tickets are sold out. I did have a look today. It is now fully sold out.
Okay. Les Bleus, All Blacks coming up. It's going to be amazing.
Life is made up of many gorgeous moments. Cherish them all, big and small, with Blue Nile. Whether it's for yourself or a loved one, Blue Nile's unrivaled selection of expertly crafted fine jewelry and statement pieces help make all your moments sparkle. Blue Nile's experts are on hand to guide you, and their diamond guarantee ensures you get the highest quality at the best price. Celebrate a life well lived in the most radiant way and save up to 30% at BlueNile.com. That's BlueNile.com.
There was no top 14, Rob, of course, the international break, but fortunately we had Pro Day there to keep our domestic juices flowing. And it was just so many points in Pro Day there from the weekend. I think a couple of big highlight games. Grenoble 38-23 away at Oyonnax, whose tricky start to the season continues. This one finished with like a really prolonged handbag, pushing, shoving. I don't know if you saw that.
I haven't seen it. I've seen the fact that there was a red and 2 yellows, and I've seen in different highlights, I've seen the guy sending off the blokes and then blowing the final whistle, but I haven't seen what happened.
I haven't even seen that. I've just seen the aftermath where they're kind of every time something gets diffused, another one kicks off somewhere else, like 20 yards away. It's
Oyonnax were kicking off like both their tries. There was a lot of shoving afterwards. They just look so frustrated again. Like they just look like a team that's pissed off. Like they look quite aggy. Like they gave away. The penalty count was 11-10 Oyonnax only conceded 1 more penalty, but Grenoble kicked 7 penalties, which, to get 38 points and only 2 of them be tries. There was a drop goal in there from the magician of the mountain, Sam Davis. But yeah, that just strikes of a level of discipline that is all over the place at the moment.
Yeah, it's clearly not quite going to script thus far there, is it? Elsewhere, what else was interesting? Montauban squeaked past Stade Niçois at home, 34-30. Stade Niçois, who seem to kind of be hanging on in there, don't they? Nevers won against Valence in that sort of bottom of the table clash. And then there was a big, bring out the football cliches, game of 2 halves in the game Brive-Colomiers. Did you tracking this?
Isn't it like 15-6 to Colomiers at half time?
Yeah, it scored 42 unanswered points in the second half, which is quite some going.
Including one sensational try from Mathis Ferte, which is just a brilliant. It's the shades of the Dakawanga one from last year, but it's not quite the level of outrageous dodging the physio from your own goal line sort of. But there's elements of it. You're just a special player. Talking of electric fullbacks that are young and tearing up Pro D2, Gabin Law, who I've heard referenced as the quickest player in Pro D2 with a hat-trick, 2 of which were brilliant tries. One was an interception, but he's gone before he's basically, by the time he's kind of crossed the halfway line, no one's catching him. But one of the tries was a solo effort that was really quite astonishing to kind of some of the pace that he showed. And he's kicking sticks now as well. I know he's kicked a bit before and he's slotted the odd big drop goal. I think he's still only like 22, I want to say, off the top of my head. But yeah, another real talent at fullback.
That was Bezier's hammering of Dax, right?
That was the only result you got wrong, Richard, as well.
Yeah,
spectacularly.
I always like backing Dax away. I think Bezier being a bit rogue, so
Marquez played. He was available. Despite being named in the Portugal squad, he didn't make the 23, so he played. Stade Montois on Thursday got a good win. Biarritz aren't actually as well as they're going. They haven't been great away from home. Quiz question for you though, Richard. There was a player who played on Saturday night watching this game.
Oh. Was it Maxim Luki?
No, it was Teo Atasogbe.
Oh, really?
Formerly of Stade Montois between the age of 14 and 18. But yeah. So on the Thursday night, what's that? 48 hours before a late call up into the squad, he was down in Mont de Marsan.
Wow, I did not know that. That's very cool. You mentioned Ferte there. Apparently, he's being linked with a move to Toulouse. The rumours on the grapevine.
No way. Just in case they need another fullback.
Just in case, exactly. Whether that's sort of now or for next season, I don't know. But I mean, he's clearly been highly rated for some time, isn't he? So it's not entirely surprising that the big boys are sniffing about. But there's quite a queue, to put it mildly, isn't there?
I mean, who wouldn't want him? He's, especially in this world of GIF and non-GIF, when you've got probably the best 19-year-old, 20-year-old in France. Well, that's apart from Atasogbe, but yeah.
Provence put away Aurillac pretty comfortably, and Soyaux Angoulême beat Agen by 1 point to round off.
But that was in the red. That was 30 points to 15 at 75 minutes. So it was a couple of late tries. SAXV scored one absolutely rip-roaring try, like proper coast to coast. If you can find it, it's Hubert Texier, something like that. It's an absolute stunner. It's a proper got everything you want from a Pro Day try. Massive backer, the number 8, absolutely tearing it up through the middle as well. Really good player.
And central to that Soyaux Angoulême win in the week that France play New Zealand is SAXV's Kiwi 10, Ben Botica, who we caught up with earlier this evening. Okay, we are delighted this evening to be joined by former Harlequins, Montpellier, Oyonnax, Union Bordeaux-Bègles cast, and now Soyaux Angoulême 10. Ben Botica. Ben, welcome to Rosbiff Rugby. How are you doing?
Yeah, very good, thank you. Hope you guys are doing well. And it's a pleasure to be on here.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been Mondays are Mondays for us. Is Monday is it a rest day for you? Is it a hard training day?
No, it was a training day today. After the win on Friday, we were supposed to train on Sunday, and Alex, the coach, was lucky enough to be gracious enough to give us Sunday off. So we had Sunday off and came in this morning. Yeah.
Nice. And fresh off a decent win on Friday night against Agen.
Yeah, no, the boys were pretty happy. Obviously, the scoreline got a bit close towards the end. They scored 2 late tries, which obviously took away our offensive bonus point, which we're obviously not happy with. But overall, the game was, I didn't have a sense that we were going to lose it towards the end. But they kept us on our toes and fought to the very, very last play of the game. Unfortunately, scoring on my head, so that's fun.
And how, it's been, we'll maybe get into it a bit, but it's been what looks from the outside like a bit of a mad start to the season at Soyaux Angoulême with a few, this amazing kind of, I think you're 100% away from home and hadn't won a game at home until a couple of weeks back. It seems to go totally against the grain. So, how's it been? How has it sort of, against expectations pre-season?
Yeah, I mean, we had a camp like everyone does, and like every other team does. We set goals, and it's kind of a weird one when you're trying to set goals, because I've never really been much of a fan of it. Obviously everyone wants to be top 6. Obviously everyone wants to do something. But what I found with Angoulême every season, the season when I first came in, I only played 4 games, and then the season after that, the talk was like, let's not get relegated. So coming into this season, I was like, that word doesn't exist to us. Like, let's not even put that in our vocabulary. Let's search for something bigger. And like for a small team like Angoulême, top 6 would be an amazing season with all the quality of teams and like you guys have said, the Wild West where anyone could beat anyone basically. It'd be a massive achievement for the team, obviously, and for the club and for the region. But it was a weird start. We won our away games, couldn't get a win at home, and then we drew to X and managed to finally get one against Biarritz. I think just the quality of our group at the moment, for this season, is just we seem to have enough good players to be able to put out a team away, put out a team at home, whether it's more French than foreigners or, all that kind of stuff. We seem to have a decent enough team all around to be able to get wins away and to get wins, hopefully more now at home. We couldn't have asked for a better start, really. We got 2 matches where we drew. Could have easily gone our way. We could have been brave.
The Aix-en-Provence game, the scrum at the end against Provence, absolute shambles.
Oh, yeah.
Disgrace.
Yeah.
That had B. Botica lining one up from 45 metres to win 9-6 written all over it.
Yeah. We kickers dream of that, So, yeah, it is what it is. These refs are what they are, and you kind of just have to run with those decisions.
Do you find the refs are just, there's been a lot said recently about French refs versus English refs or French refs generally. Are they just a little bit shocking? Trying to see the highlights from the UK, Pro de Deux seems there's just some interesting stuff that goes on. There's a lot of cards.
Yeah, that's been since I started playing here in France. They're liberal with their cards. They'll listen to the crowd most times. I just find the standards kind of all over the place. There's no, as the refs get better, like top 14, they all have their own little things they look for, but generally their level they're on is the same. So you could expect the same kind of calls from them. But Pro D2, it's kind of, you don't really know what you're going to get every week, whether it'll be a good ref or a questionable one. But there's always something to pick off after the game. And Alex, our head coach, loves to always, get stuck into the refs with him being a ref too. So
nice. I guess so. You mentioned there, Angoulême as a club, fairly small, certain by comparison, some of the sides you've played for in the past. Probably a side that not a lot of English, British, whatever you want to call it, fans in the last few years would have known too much about, but it's suddenly on the radar of a lot through Jonny May going over. How's it's made quite a few headlines over here. How's he been since he? Because follow him around, they're usually quite good value from what we hear.
Oh no, yes, Jonny. What can I say? I'm basically his personal assistant, and he would attest to that. Every day he will remind me that I haven't done something for him in a while. So he's a character, man. He's brought He's quite funny because when you get foreigners over here, obviously French is such a hard language to speak. And if you don't speak it, then you'll never progress. And Jonny doesn't give a shit. He is just he'll speak up in meetings, and then he'll speak obviously English and French, and he always finishes a sentence which cracks me up with "we." So he'll be like, "Yeah, we have to react. We, yes, we, okay." And then we have to. And it's, I try not to laugh because when you laugh at people trying to speak the language, it can obviously affect them literally trying to speak it. But with Jonny, he doesn't care, and he brings a whole bunch of a good chuckle between the foreigners and stuff. So he's been a great value here.
Quality. From the outside, you mentioned how strong the league's been this year, as I say. So, headline over here was Jonny May goes across, obviously Courtney Laws, George North hasn't started yet that for Provence, but it sounds like he's getting that way. Has it, beyond those headlines, has it genuinely felt like a step up from previous seasons, or is it, always been this good, but just we now know a few more of the guys involved?
No, so what I'd say is it's like kind of like the difference between top 14 is like maybe a little bit faster, but like nothing in terms of like context and like how physical it is and all that stuff. What I would say is like Pro 2 have probably missed having superstars in the league, like we've got the battlers like myself and other foreigners that play in this league, and then you're getting superstars that are coming to this to Pro 2, whereas it used to be basically only top 14, and then that brings a whole bunch of other problems with in terms of like top 14, you're like most of the teams are fairly close, but then you got superstars in there and they can do whatever, like a team's good and then you get sprinkled out with superstars, they can pull something out of nothing. And I think that's the way Pro 2 is going now, especially with England losing the Premiership, going down for players coming to the end of their career. I think that's kind of the big thing. They're bringing that superstardom and bringing eyes to Pro 2, which is awesome because there's so many small clubs like us, Valence, Aurillac, all these small clubs, Nice, that would never really be seen on TV, but then all of a sudden you're playing Brive, you've just got Courtney in them, and Aix-en-Provence as well with all this, they've got a few superstars, French ones as well, with Plisson. It brings more eyes to these smaller clubs, which is awesome, yeah.
I think the TV deal as well is really cool. Like the fact that you're on prime time TV, like Thursday night, Friday night, is just you've got a whole basically evening devoted to Pro Day, which is great.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, any screen time's good screen time,
Yeah.
Does that reflect that sort of added interest in the in the home crowds in particular? Because we, like as you put it, Rob is decked head to toe in what looks like Angoulême kit. So we did actually go, I think, 18 months ago.
I think it was actually, looking back, I think it was actually like your third game or something. I didn't realise you'd not been there that long when we went, but it was it must have been
Mont-de-Marsan, I think.
It was,
yeah.
That was an interesting one. It was we lost that game. So the lead up to that game, the president, all the coaches, all the kind of like back staff were around us like, we win this game, we're not getting relegated, all this stuff. We lost that game, everyone's crying, and we had Oya away the next week, and we had to get just 1 point to stay up, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, we haven't been relegated. We still got one more game, like we can still do it. Like, why are you, and it was just crazy to me that people were just writing us off straight away, even like some players and just everyone just lost it. And then the next week we drove 9 hours and managed to get a point.
Amazing. Yeah, because I was going to say, because that game we went to, the official attendance came up, and I can't remember what was said.
I think it was 6,000.
But if you could not move. Like, it was absolutely heaving, and I guess maybe that reflects the fact. Obviously, there were a lot of eyes on that game, but is it you typically selling out the ground? Bit of interest.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you look at the attendance all around Pro 2 and Top 14 this year, it's been massively up on previous years, and I don't know whether that's, I guess maybe the rugby's more entertaining. Like, you don't really know who's going to win, but then you want the home supporters are rallying around their teams more. But definitely the crowds here have gotten a whole bunch better. At the end of last year, when we had managed to stay up with like 3 or 4 games to go, everyone was coming down. So yeah, I think with all the with how the leagues are going, especially Pro 2, more people are coming out to watch, and our crowds, especially the support, is awesome.
And I guess you've had a few clubs around France. What makes Angoulême? Like, what's unique about it as a place, as a playing squad, as a club? Kind of what's the kind of real distinguishing features that you've noticed?
Well, I think because basically every club I've been at, they've had maybe but Oyo. Oyo kind of had the same sort of feel, but the city of Oyo, I wouldn't even call it a city. The village of Oyo isn't great. But I mean, the town's beautiful, not far from Bordeaux. But the team's basically no superstars, and everyone just, I don't know. We have this kind of great culture where everyone's like kind of friends. Like, obviously, not everyone's going to be, you don't like have to like everyone in the squad, but I've got a real sense that we got this great camaraderie. And even like last year, we're in the shit, and no one's really dragging their feet. We all kind of want to play for each other. And we know that because we don't have these crazy superstars, that the only way we can win games is very much together. And I mean, that's the kind of feeling I get. That's why I like it so much. All the boys are awesome. The French mingle with the foreigners mingle with the French, which hasn't always been the case at some of the clubs I've been at.
I think like when we went, it was, what struck me is it was that kind of, I mean, we drove on a Friday night 2 hours from Bordeaux, and it was like, this is properly like in the middle of nowhere, where it felt like it. But then all of a sudden, like it felt like a proper community, like the whole town was at that game, it felt like. And it was a proper, we're not a big town. We're not, we're in the kind of a little bit out in the sticks, but we are together, and this is our kind of community, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly how it is. And because we're in like the Charente, which is like one of the departments, like how France is kind of spaced out. We're the biggest team in this region. So I mean, the support we get is amazing, and all the boys love it.
You guys had one of those training sessions at one of the, I think I saw you at another club the other week, weren't you, down in Johnson?
We're down there last week. Was it before Biarritz? I know it's before Bizier, actually.
What are those like? Are they kind of quite good fun? Are they quite common? Are they the people? Is it because if you guys are the biggest kind of team in Charente, is that like the big boys come to town when you go to one of those clubs?
It can be, and sometimes it's not. Sometimes you've got just maybe a handful of the players that have been told to come down, and then we do like some kid coaching and stuff afterwards. But it's kind of a mixed bag. It depends where you go, really, how big the club is in the area.
Nice.
So you mentioned it just there. You had a few seasons at Oyonnax, which again has had a bit of English press with Joe Elad coming over as defence coach and sort of splitting his duties. I think they've maybe don't keep too much of an eye on other sides, but they've had a bit of a tricky start to the season. Do you think is that just the result of everything we've said about how strong the league's been? That they've been a bit unlucky, or how do you see that as an ex-Oyonnax player?
Well, I'd say it's more so. It's a weird feeling because I did the same thing where we played in top 40 and we got relegated. So for some reason, I guess in players' heads, maybe like they think coming back down, it'll be a little bit easier. I'm not saying that they think they're the best team in the league, but sometimes you like when we came down, I was just like, God, this is really hard. And we didn't do very well that season. We actually made the semis, I think it was, the semis, but we started off poorly as well. And it was kind of weird trying to get back into that. Because you play somewhere like I don't know, a small team like Valence or someone like that, and you just think, this is we can go there and just do a job, or it'd be easy, and it's not. It never is. But maybe that's the mentality they kind of went into, and now they're kind of into a slump. But the beauty of this league is, if you look at the table now, it is you lose 2 or 3 games on the trot, which is very easy to do. You could be in trouble,
I think I heard an interview with 1 or 2 Breathe players last year, kind of probably early part of the year or maybe this time last year. And I think they had a really bad start to the season last year, kind of first 6, 7 games in Pro Day having come down. And like, they ended up at the barrage, didn't they? They nearly kind of,
they did the barrage.
You can go on a run, and obviously like Grenoble kind of came from behind with the points deduction as well. Have you had any kind of like, are you in touch with any of the players at Oya now or anything like that, or has it kind of changed quite a lot? It's been a while since you were there.
Nah, it's been a while. Yeah, no, I know a few players still there, but yeah, no, I don't. Most of the dudes I play with have moved on or have hung up the boots.
Yeah, it just feels like a weird situation to kind of have a head coach, but also not.
No, yeah, exactly. Coach. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's got to be tough as well. So I don't even know who's taken over, but your head coach leaves, and he's kind of in between two. He's not giving. He can't give his. That's just the fact. He can't give his 100%. So yeah, I mean they're going through a tough spot, but I mean you can never count them out. They're a big club, and like as you say, you go on a run 6 or 7 games, which is doable as well as those 6 or 7 games in a row, and you're right back in it. So yeah, I wouldn't. If I was them right now, obviously they want to finish well before December comes, because that's when December's Christmas comes. That's a good, it's a good look to where you are after that first part of the season and what you have to do for the second part.
Just and winding, but not to dwell too much on that, but winding back to your time there. So our first guest on here was Zach Farrance, I believe, is a former teammate of yours. He informed us that the year you guys went down from the top 14, you were top 14 player of the year or player of the year or something.
Yeah, the award that DuPont's won like 3 or 4 years in a row.
DuPont, yeah. I mean,
are we saying better than DuPont? Is that what we're saying there?
Yeah, definitely not. That guy's not human. He's an alien. Oh, I can't. I love the guy, but like I just watch it and I'm like, why? Like how? I don't get it. Like how does he do that stuff? Like it's just absolutely crazy. But no, yeah, I was fortunate enough to win that award, which was obviously a huge honor and completely out of left field. I didn't think it would. Yeah, I'd never even dreamed of winning that, let alone against Semi Radraja and Julian Gumara, who are both really great players, and I played with Julian at Cast and Semi at Bordeaux actually. But it was a crazy season. I mean, the problem we had at Oyo when we were in top 14, our attacks, we seemed to be able to score a lot of points, but we just could not stop the other team scoring more, which was England's problem in the weekend. So yeah, I mean, we had a great season in terms of attacking, but defense obviously wins most games.
I was just going to bring that up to Pro Day because it feels like there was a really high scoring round at Pro Day at the weekend. There was the England-Australia game. Like it feels just like a casual rugby watcher that there's a lot more kind of a attack to getting a lot sharper, a lot quicker. Is that fault? You're playing 10, so you're right at the centre of that. Do you feel that shift, or is it a bit of a misconception?
Yeah.
Side?
I actually had a thought about this the other day. I think it's weird that rugby kind of goes in cycles, I feel, where defenses dominate for a few years and then it comes back to attack and then goes back to D. It's a weird thing. At the moment, attack definitely feels like it's coming out on top, and it's kind of who can score the most points. Because, I mean, a few years ago, England, South Africa, they just defend, kick box kicks, defend, wait for you to make a mistake, and then they play in your half kind of thing. So it definitely feels, if you look at the scores, bar us and X that one weekend where we 6-6 and everyone else was plus 30. Attacks at the moment for teams is definitely higher level, I'd say, than in previous years, that people have decided, have figured out how to breakdown defenses better. So
that must be quite good fun as a fly half, or you want to run it back to.
Defense is not fun for me. It's not fun for any 10, I'd imagine. Every line out, every scrum, you're more or less the target person, so you're always you're always looking to not have to make the tackle. But obviously if you're in the firing line, you got no choice.
I guess just on that, I think I know which way you sway, but the big debate, I guess, in French rugby at the moment is around the fly half jersey with Thomas Ramos and Mathieu Jalibert, and it kind of feels actually more like a who do they want at 15. Where do you kind of stand on that debate, and why have they gone the way they've gone, and why are they not going with Jalibert?
I guess Jalibert's awesome player. I played with him at Bordeaux, and he's been in the system for so long. He's an exciting player. Ramos on the other side, he's exciting, but not on Jalibert's kind of attacking level. So I guess they just maybe want to bring a bit more stability to the 10 jersey, because you look at their backs, they don't need a crazy, unbelievably attacking 10, because they've got so much dangers on the wing, centers, fullback. Maybe that's the reason they've gone with Ramos. But I mean, you could probably stick either one of them in there, and they're going to do a job, because they're both pretty bloody good players, I tell you.
Yeah, it feels like the decision is. It feels to me like it's on Barre. I think for the casual rugby fan, or someone that doesn't know the ins and outs of kind of fly half and fullback play, the obvious choice seems like Jalibert at 10 and Ramos at 15. But it's it just seems that they really, really like Barre, or they just really want Ramos at 10. I don't know. It seems.
Yeah, well, and it could be just to give him game time. Like you say, their back, the armory they've got in their backs is insane. And that's I'm sure we'll speak about it. That's a worrying sign for the All Blacks this weekend. They're going to have to make sure they keep them under wraps big time.
Do you still support the All Blacks in that game then? You've been in France a long time.
I've been in France a long time. Don't get me wrong. I love the French. I love the French lifestyle. But there's no way. There's no way I never support the French. No, against the All Blacks. Against the All Blacks. Maybe against South Africa or someone like that, I would support them. But no, when it comes to the All Blacks, I'll never forget where I come from, and my roots, as they say.
Yeah. Who are you backing at the weekend? Where's it going to be won and lost?
I don't know. I think it's going to be it's probably going to be who can score more tries, I feel. Yeah, I mean, we've got dangerous backs, but their backs are just as dangerous. And then you got Dupont, and I'd hate to see what he's going to try to do, or what miracle thing he pulls out the hat as per usual. And then, I mean, the French forwards, it's quite a similar forward pack. We've got probably better running forwards, but they've got the density that is French, the French type 5 and stuff. So, it's a tough one to call in terms of where it'll be won. I think it'll just be, hopefully the errors are down from the All Blacks from their last previous games. But I think, I mean, All Blacks are obviously going to win, but it's going to be a fun game to watch, I feel, if Paris is dry.
Well, I haven't checked the forecast.
I hope it's a dry game, because I'm a huge fan of this wet weather stuff, and we've had it quite nice in Angoulême recently. So,
and is it Grenoble away this weekend? Is. Yeah, decent trek. Quite a daunting trip as well. I imagine they're looking real good.
Oh mate, they're solid, real solid. It's going to be a big ask for us to go out there and win, but we went out to Dax and beat them. and they're obviously really good at home. So, I mean, I don't think it'll be a lack of belief why we don't win. So, yeah, I think we just have to go there confident and throw the kitchen sink at them and don't hold anything back. Don't be scared. Don't be timid. Yeah, they're a great team and great form. But like you said, it's Pro two. You can beat teams away. So fingers crossed the boys can stand up to the tall task and get it done.
I'm going to put you on the spot here. Is there who in the squad kind of, because as we've mentioned, there's Jonny May as the big name, but you guys are kind of not superstars, I guess, or as you said. But who are the guys that could be superstars? Who are the guys that could be in the future tearing top 14? Could be knocking on Fabien Galtier's door for the French side.
Oh, we've got quite a few. Our young boys that come up from Espoir. I mean, our prop, Sidhu, the guy that took over, the Beards. I mean, yes, it's hard to say, but I mean, he's a strong, powerful guy, and he's young. You never know, French-wise. He obviously has aspirations to go to a higher level. So yeah, maybe him. Who else? There's too many boys that it's hard to tell so early on in their career, like it's not sort of like an X factor thing they do, but it's kind of like what they do around the field, off the field. That's going to count, especially if they want to try for bigger aspirations.
Nice.
And we
signs.
Before we let you go, we always ask our guests, we like to do a little kind of Rosbiff recommend. Say, if anyone's coming out to Angoulême, to the Stade Chanzy, where should they be eating, drinking, visiting, going for coffee, etc.? What would be your shouts?
Okay, so it'd probably be for food and drink. If you're going before the game, go down to Chat Noir, the Black Cat, as foreigners call it. It's not a huge town, but that's where everyone goes to, have a drink and cocktails and beers and all that stuff. And for coffee, I'd say Please Cafe, beautiful spot, good food, good French coffee, because it's hard in this town. It's hard to find a good actual coffee that you'd find in England or New Zealand. So yeah, those are the kind of two places I'd go.
Very good. Yeah, Angoulême doesn't strike me as the sort of place that's churning out kind of top quality flat whites, has to be said.
No. I had to buy a bloody semi-expensive coffee machines just to do it and learn how to make milk.
Amazing. Yeah. Well, look, but it's been a real pleasure having you on. Thanks so much for your time. Best of luck both for this weekend and obviously the remainder of the season. All the best.
Can't wait to
Cheers,
get
man. Appreciate it.
When we win the league.
Mate, well, that's the thing. Wait until we get to top 6 and we'll see where it goes. But no, I appreciate it, boys. Love what you guys are doing and bringing bigger light to Pro D2. So that's awesome. Thanks.
Cheers, mate. Thanks very much.
Cheers, mate.
Look around. You can find cars like these on AutoTrader, like that car riding your tail. Or if you're tailgating right now, all those cars doubling as kitchens and living rooms are on AutoTrader too. Are you working out and listening to this ad at the same time? Well, multitasking pro, cars like the ones in the gym parking lot are for sale on AutoTrader. New cars, used cars, electric cars, maybe even flying cars. Okay, no flying cars, but as soon as they get invented, they'll be on AutoTrader. Just you wait. AutoTrader.
Thanks again to Ben for his time. I'm not sure I realised until we did a bit of research pre-game just how long he's been in France. It's quite some career.
Yeah, and a very successful career at every club, actually, because he was basically starting 10 at UBB when they were top of the league pre-COVID. So, yeah, quite impressive, especially when you add that into, his award for top 14 is pretty impressive.
Yeah, very cool. Just before you also impressive, just before he jumped on, he was adjusting the camera. He's got an outstanding collection of guitars. It seems he was underplaying it, but he was saying very much second pursuit, and have been doing it for a while. So I'm going to imagine a pretty tidy guitar player as well, which is very cool. We can't move on from we can move on from Pro Day. We can't move on without talking briefly about my beloved Nationale, and in particular, there was one absolute cracker. What was kind of top and bottom of the table, the Battle of the North. It was Markham Barruel up in Lille hosted Rouen in what is, I would imagine, the most northerly derby in France. And it was a 28-27 victory to Rouen. But that does not tell half the story, because Rouen stream their games on YouTube for anyone who doesn't get enough of their fix. And so they conceded a try in the 78th minute, an absolute worldie of a try off first phase. You can hear it kicking off in the stands in Lille. They then go down the other end, pinch a penalty, which comes off the back of a free kick for a crooked scrum feed, which is incredibly rogue. And then that's not enough. They then concede another penalty, and poor, I don't know the replacement 10's name for Markham Barruel, but he just slides it right. Nationale producing the goods. It was quite something. I had a little look on Sunday after in my slightly less hungover state than you were, but nonetheless struggling ever so slightly, and it was quite something. So keep an eye out on those on YouTube. You obviously can't really see Pro Day games, but there's some cracking stuff going on down in Nationale.
What's the table looking like?
I'm glad you asked, Rob. I'm glad you asked. It's last week it was 1 point between first and fourth. How many separate first and fourth now?
2.
4.
Oh.
4. Yes, we've got Rouen and Chambéry, both on 44 points. Chambéry, who must have won because they'd lost the week before, I believe, to Rouen.
Yeah.
They
will also obviously not be at home this weekend.
No, Chambéry put away Tub 45-10. Markham Barruel we've spoken about. Massy 39-18, big win in the Paris derby. All eyes on Paris in many ways. I wonder what the cross section was that went to both those games. There must have been a couple, surely, sneaking along from Massy. Périgueux up to third. They hammered Narbonne 40-13, which is quite a turn up. And then Bourgoin got a much needed win against Albi, and Bourg-en-Bresse beat Carcassonne. So a couple of form reversals.
Yeah. So is it really tight, and anyone could could happen, and anyone could move up the table?
You know what? It is looking that way. It really is. What a league. Some great. We were speaking about it last week. There really are some great logos kicking about as well.
Yeah.
Just quite a random mix of things. And sadly, the Carcaran Hier one is right up there, which still appears on this table I look at with the big palm tree.
So good.
It looks like a West Indian cricket franchise. It's awesome. But the Carcaran Hier, what the Jamaican Talawas or something like that. The Carcaran Talawas. Anyway, digress. Should we wrap up some Petit-Fours and then get packing for Paris? What have you seen?
First of all, I've got an apology because I remembered shortly after the recording the podcast last week, because I said that Nick Berry didn't speak any French, but I remembered hearing an interview with Andrew Mertens once, and he shared a room with Nick Berry during their time at Racing Metro. So Nick Berry played for 3 years before joining Wasps. He played for what was then Racing Metro. So I assume he does speak some French. So there you go. Apologies to Nick Berry for saying that you didn't speak any French.
So it's you and Razzie Erasmus who are off the Christmas card list.
You talked about interesting logos in the Nationale table. I spotted the Elite 1 feminine table the other day, and it's some really interesting, like the names of the teams, because you've got Stade Bordelais is obviously the kind of legacy or heritage Uber-based. Stade Toulousain, they're probably pretty big. Blognac SC are still there. AC Bobigny, I don't know what they're related to. The Grenoble Amazonas, which is interesting.
That's cool.
There's an ASM Romagna, which is the same logo as ASM Clermont-Auvergne, but obviously a slightly different name. And then Stade Villeneuvoise is also in there. Lille Metropole, which is the team that I think they won like best amateur club at the Oscars last week.
I think it was, yeah.
Which I think is also in. I think that LM is Lille Metropole. I did see one game, and I think it was ASM versus AC Bobigny. That is quite possible. I think it might have even been sevens as well. But it's quite possibly the wettest game of rugby I've ever seen. It was genuinely like that. It was. I don't know how they were playing on it, because it was not far off like a lake. But genuinely, it was astonishing. I'll try and find the clip again. It was quite ridiculous. But yeah, League One looks interesting. The interesting one this weekend is in Pro D2 on Saturday. So obviously Chambéry and Nationale are letting out their ground for a couple of internationals. But obviously we have a Saturday Pro D2 game this weekend, Richard.
Is that the Lawn Derby? Is that this weekend, is it?
Yeah, and Bosch on Basque, the bar nearby, doing a special little thing for the Lawn Derby, I think. Couple of transfer rumours. I saw a video of Manu Tuolangi learning to play pelote, and the Basque boys of Arthur Arturia and Camilo Lopez just basically pissing themselves. I mentioned them there. Did you see who played for Blognac this weekend?
Was it Joe Takori?
Joe Takori played for Blognac this weekend. And a load of them went down to watch. So Jerome Kano, Richie Arnold, Pierre-Louis Barassi, Paul Grau, Peter Aki all went down to watch him.
Amazing.
Looks like they've got a plastic pitch, which is astonishing for a club that apparently hasn't got any money. That they've got a new. Are
they still playing at the same ground?
Yeah.
Nice.
And then hot off the press, I saw it literally while we were having a break before coming back on, Rich. Will Collier posted something on his story just now that was this, and the caption was, "This might be the greatest thing I've ever seen." Now, I generally try and avoid Christmas chat before December, but this is worthy of a mention. He saw in a French, presumably it must have been a French supermarket, an advent calendar with mini saucisson.
That is great work.
Each day a different mini saucisson, which is amazing, absolutely unreal.
Wow. Do we know if that's a chain supermarket, and do they have them in Paris? Because surely you're sniffing one of those out if you can.
Let me have a quick look.
Although let's be honest, the chances of that making it to Christmas Eve are so slim.
It does look like a chain supermarket. Auchan. AUCHAM.
That's brilliant. That is excellent. Very good. I did see, you mentioned the Lawn Derby there. I did see that, I think it was Dax put out on their socials that their mascot, I couldn't quite work out who it was, but had a meeting on the kind of main, there's a few bridges, aren't there, but like the main bridge in Bayonne with I've forgotten his name, but like the Bayonne horse, who's obviously, that horse that just does odd stuff. Hopefully giving you a few tips of the trade for how to behave unbelievably, and how to twerk on the side of the pitch mid game as well. So that was my main Petit-Fours. The other one was that I discovered the other week that so we did this trip last year, didn't we? Went from Grenoble to Lyon, and the train we got, the first stop on that route is the home of the Chartreuse Cellars. So we went past those. So for anyone going for a little alpine kind of fix, if you want some very strong herbal liqueur, and some very pretty glassware nip in there. And then speaking of Lyon, to round it off, tickets go on sale tomorrow for the Top 14 semi-final doubleheader weekend, which is all taking place in Lyon. As is hot off the press, I just looked at sort of Charles Richardson's latest X post. Lyon will be hosting the 2027 European finals as well. Apparently have, according to this, picked Rome to hosting their first. So yeah, lots of fun stuff coming up in Lyon. Get yourself some Chartreuse while you're out there, and if you stay awake, congratulations. Right, I think we're done. Gotta get ready for the weekend.
I feel like we should give an early warning that we may be a day later, just in case. Just to feel like, let's get over the jet lag on Monday, and then we'll see.
Absolutely. I will most likely see you next at some point in Paris on Saturday. Where can you follow us in the interim?
X. I was about to say X, Twitter, that's the same thing. Instagram, TikTok, Threads, YouTube. We are at Rosbeast Rugby on all of those. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, comment, drop us a message, slide into our DMs, whatever you want. Heckle us, abuse us. We want to hear from you guys.
Absolutely. I've been Rich, that's been Rob. We've been the Rosbeast Rugby podcast. We will be in Paris this Saturday. Allez les Bleus. Until then, au revoir.
Au revoir.
Check engine light on? Take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.